Mr. President, Vanakkam.
Vanakkam.
We are merely hours away from a very crucial presidential election. All the very best and thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Your Excellency, you took to this presidency during a very tumultuous political and social period. Looking back, what do you think are your key achievements during this period?
Firstly, establishing stability, ensuring law and order, strengthening the democratic structure of the government, and of course, dealing with the issue of bankruptcy. Today, in another few hours, in Singapore, they will issue a statement by dealing with the negotiations, the private bondholders. Since we've already discussed with the IMF and come to an agreement, we had discussions with the 17 countries that constituted the official creditors committee. We've concluded that yesterday late night, and I think today early morning, we concluded the discussions with the China Development Bank and finally with the official bondholders. So we finished all the negotiations that are necessary for the bankruptcy status to be removed and for us to go ahead, and the debt sustainability of the Sri Lankan economy is recognized. That is the first step. There are much more to be done, but I came in to stabilize the economy and ensure that the bankruptcy declaration of Sri Lanka is removed. That is being achieved.
Inflation is reduced, the negative growth has been reversed, Sri Lankan rupee is getting stronger. There are improvements across all economic parameters. But the complaint is the benefits and the improvements are not felt by the common Sri Lankans on the ground in their everyday lives.
People are feeling the benefits to have stability, to have the schools functioning, to have your children attending schools and to attend to your day-to-day work. The tourists are coming back, exports are taking place, the economy is functioning. Then the benefits must go to everyone. But what's happened is, far as we were in 2019, the exchange rate was 185 rupees for the dollar. With the collapse of the economy, it went up to 370. Now we've stabilized at 300. But remember, our purchasing, our incomes have not increased. So gradually we are now taking measures to increase incomes, which has happened. The government servants' incomes are being increased, they are getting additional allowances and the salaries are being upped. Private sector has upped salaries. The farmers are getting better prices on one hand. On the other hand, by strengthening the rupee, prices have also come down of essential goods by 10%, 20%, maybe up to 40%. There is still a gap, but next year we will ensure that the cost of living is no longer a burden on the average person. I've always kept my eye on what I call the dining table. And as long as, so we know the problems of the dining table, we'll certainly ensure that's resolved, but also is that we've increased the welfare benefits threefold, and the number of recipients from 1.6 million finally end up with about 2.4 million. So that's one group that has been looked after, and group by group we are looking at the issues that are there and ensuring that life is certainly easier for them as we go along. But as a country, we've gone through this, and countries like Greece took 10 years. I'm trying to get over this in 2 years.
The other accusation is you have shielded those responsible for the economic crisis in a political quid pro quo. Particularly, specifically, that you've shielded the Rajapaksas is the accusation that your opposition is making.
If I have shielded the Rajapaksas, they should come with me for the elections. They went and filed action. The same groups that are accusing me. Thereafter, The Supreme Court found them guilty. They said they were responsible for the economic crisis, but they did not impose any penalty on them. So as such, that's what the court has imposed on them. Secondly, there has been, when we were in the government earlier, from 2015 to 2019, there were inquiries being made against some of the members, including some members of the Rajapaksa family. Part of the inquiries, some of the inquiries were handled by the police, some of the inquiries were handled by the bribery commission, some of the inquiries were handled by a special advisor in the President's office, Mr. Valiamuna, and some were handled by the Anti-Corruption Secretariat, for which my Prime Minister office provided the funding. The head of that organization was Mr. Ananda Vijaypal. Mr. Ananda Vijaypal was nominated by the JVP, not by me. So, the praise and blame of what he has done must go to those who appointed him. He was not even a lawyer. So, how can I be blamed? They are blaming me and they are whitewashing them. So, what can I do? In any case, the Rajapaksa family has decided to go with the SLPP. So, they can't, there are no other accusation the JVP could make against us.
President, do you think you can defy the polls which predict a lead for your opponents?
What are these polls?
Opinion polls? Many opinion polls predict.
What are opinion polls? Opinion polls are opinion polls. You also had opinion polls in the Indian elections. Mine is, I have planned and we've done it. I don't think anyone can really, I don't think some of these opinion polls are correct when you look at what's happening. We've done our numbers and no opinion poll can establish for them. Some of them come up in the social media. But I have never planned campaigns on the basis of opinion polls. If that is so in 2015, Mr. Rajapaksa should have won the election.
Mr. President, throughout your political career, you have garnered significant support from the Tamil population. But there is a fierce competition in that department from your opponents. Why do you think a Tamil voter would choose Mr. Ranil Wickramasinghe over the others?
I have no competition. I have no competition. Who is competing with me for the votes?
Nobody? Not Mr. Sajid?
No, what nonsense. Yes, Mr. Sumandiran. That is the best asset I have.
Are you upset that some of the major Tamil parties are not backing you in this election?
All Tamil parties are backing me. Other than the group.
Ilangai Tamilarasu Katchi is not backing you.
No, I take Mr. Charles Nirmanathan. I was in his house 2 days ago. Why don't you go there and find out?
You're confident of getting
the
votes from the North and
I am
East?
confident. I will get the Tamil.
One long pending demand of the North and East, the Tamil populace, is the implementation of the 13th Amendment. But this has been met only with a long-standing promise from successive governments. Why have you not taken this forward?
I had 2 years to fix the economy. Rest I have to do later. What I had undertaken, I did. I want all the 9 provincial councils to function, and I have said in my manifesto, additional powers of development will be given to them to take this country forward as export-oriented economy and to get the GDP growth we want. I need a central government and 9 other provincial executives. So, all of them will have it. Will go on the basis. There was a report submitted by the 7 chief ministers of the southern provinces, and everyone is happy with that report. We will go ahead with that report. That's what I plan.
Are you for a full implementation of the 13th Amendment in principle?
So, whatever is given in that, I said the police powers we will have to discuss in the new parliament, and the other land, as far as land is concerned, the land commission we are already drafting the legislation, and the rest of it we will bring in. If you look at my Sri Lanka you will find the proposals there.
Do you think India has a favorite candidate in this election?
Not to my knowledge.
Because there is only one candidate who fully supports the 13th Amendment, and it is Mr. Sajid. So the general impression is he could be India's favorite.
India has left the 13th Amendment to us. I have said some of these issues must be discussed in Parliament. Mr. Sajith Premadas has not mentioned any of those in the southern part of the country.
So he's being selective in his campaigns, speaking in
I
one tone in the north and one in the south.
Yeah, but that doesn't concern me because, as far as I am concerned, I have the votes. So what do I care as to what he does?
So you are for a full implementation of the 13th Amendment with police powers
To be
decided
discussed,
with the Parliament.
and then the Land Commission will come in, and there will be a National Land Policy Act also.
Right. Speaking of India-Sri Lanka relations, how satisfied are you about India's support during and post the economic crisis?
They've helped us a lot, and now we are going for closer integration, and with the comprehensive agreement also on economic and technology.
One of India's concerns is over growing influence of China in this region. How do you address these concerns? Because these concerns are only growing.
No, I've always told the Indians and even the other governments that we will not allow anyone to do anything that will have an adverse impact on the Indian security. Within that, any country can come and certainly do commercial activity in this country. That's all been adhered to.
Even such as talking of the Chinese ships, specifically spy ships, nuclear submarines, these have caused tensions.
Whenever submarines or ships come, the same law applies to everyone. But where there have been concerns, we have discussed that matter with the Indian government.
What is your message to India on this matter?
My message to India is what I have said earlier, that the national security of India will not be harmed in any way. That's not only mine, we established that in 1987. To my knowledge, all governments had followed it.
Mr. President, the Katchatheevu issue remains to be a matter of contention between India and Sri Lanka. Are you open to discussions on this matter, on the issue of Katchatheevu?
It can't be, it's a part of Sri Lanka territory. I will no longer discuss it, just as much as you don't discuss the Kashmir issue with Pakistan. Quite all right.
Returning of Katchatheevu to India, is that not an option?
This is a part of, we both follow the same thing. We don't discuss our land boundaries. You don't discuss Kashmir. I don't discuss Katchatheevu.
The government of India does not consider Katchatheevu a settled matter.
Government of India considers Katchatheevu as a settled matter. The media doesn't.
It doesn't? The government of India doesn't?
No, it's in our boundaries. They are never this thing. Mrs. Indira Gandhi and Mrs. Bandaranaike signed it, and it's there, carved in cement.
Has the government of India not broached this matter in the
recent past? They have not even broached it.
But they have broached the issue.
They have broached the issue of the fishermen. We have also broached the issue of the fishermen.
They have not raised the Katchatheevu issue with you.
No, there is no issue of Katchatheevu.
But the opinion in India is that Katchatheevu belongs to India based on historical records.
There were no historical ones. The government of India and the government of Sri Lanka arrived at an agreement on Katchatheevu. And the media wants it taken off. We have no problem with the government of India, and most people in Tamil Nadu are not worried either. It's just the fishermen around that area, and it's a more political issue because some of them are backed by the politicians, or some of the politicians are involved in fishing. Look, we all know the story. No man in Uttar Pradesh is ever going to take this up, or in Madhya Pradesh,
so it's a Tamil Nadu
or in small part of Tamil Nadu on that count. You don't get this in Chennai, you don't get this in Madurai, you don't get this in Coimbatore. I mean, we go around India, no? We know it's not a problem at all.
The Indian foreign minister has taken a public position that Katchatheevu belongs to India. So
he has not taken that issue up with us. I think what we have done is you all have interviewed him in on the media. That's all.
It's a settled matter.
I don't think you have to take this up because you're only trying to put a strain on the relations between India and Sri Lanka. We all follow the same policy.
The fishers issue has strained relations in the recent past. Would you change your approach, take a more human approach on the issue of Tamil fishermen?
Yes, I am taking a more human approach. I want to ensure that the fishermen in Jaffna get their due share, and it's not taken away by other fishermen.
There were talks about allowing license to fishermen in Sri Lanka, restricting it and legalizing it, putting it in an
fishermen in Sri Lanka doesn't need licenses. If at all, it's people from outside. But there's also the promise that fishermen including into the Sri Lankan waters would be helped to fish in other areas than the high seas. All that has not taken place. We have been very soft so far, but I think the issue is blowing up in Jaffna. Twice when I was in Jaffna, the fishermen insisted on meeting me and wanted assurances, so I can't keep putting it off.
What is your message to the leaders, people, and the fishers of Tamil Nadu on this matter of fishermen issue?
Leaders and people of Tamil Nadu, we are all friendly. We had the same history that we have shared. As far as the fishermen in that area are concerned, look, they are all related to each other. So they should sort that out. Some of them have families on that side and this side also. This is an open secret. But you can't clash on this. These are Sri Lankan waters. Sit down and talk it over.
The upcountry Tamil community has faced historical socio-economic challenges. What is your agenda for the upcountry Tamils in this election?
We've already announced it before the elections. I want to take the line rooms and make it into villages, give them the ownership of lands. We are already giving the welfare benefits to those living in the senior citizens living in the line rooms. We are increasing the education. I have insisted that the pay be increased. So we understand that the community, the Tamils in the hill country have socially had difficulties, and that has to be overcome. We are committed to it, and the first thing is to do away with the plantation system and the line rooms, have villages and have agro businesses. That's what we are doing down in the south in far as coconuts are concerned. Earlier people lived on the estates, they don't live there now. It's happening in rubber. It should happen in tea also.
Right. And there are still international calls for an international mechanism to what happened in 2009. Are you opposed to international mechanisms coming into what happened in 2009?
I have the same stand on this as the government of India. There are no need for international people to come. We are doing what we are promised to do. I have fulfilled it. Look, in the whole of South Asia and Southeast Asia, no government agrees to international mechanisms.
But what has happened in 2009 is alleged as international crimes which require international jurisdiction.
Then the same arguments and are made against India also, allegations.
On?
Even on Kashmir, for instance, people go and make it, but we have stood, this is an issue for India.
There was no war in Kashmir.
Look, as far as we are concerned, allegations are there. If there were no war, I can also say,
there was no international.
Look, so what are you saying? Are you saying that international, that India is prepared to have international inquiries into any Indian matter?
But there
we all,
there were UN mechanisms set up in this matter. So these are uncomparable.
No, they are all comparable. If you want, all our countries in South Asia have agreed that there is no question of international inquiry. There were no question. Even Southeast Asia we've agreed, East Asia, all of Asia is not for India. This is a issue by the West of trying to impose their views on us, and we are not agreeable.
The Kashmir issue did not create 90,000 war widows.
We have no 90,000 war widows.
Close to that.
Nothing. You go and see that in the missing persons office, the numbers are there. That is the whole war. There has been no, that is a false claim of 90,000 war widows.
Mr. President,
it's you in the media carrying it forward.
Mr. President,
we are looking at good relations with India. Now you are trying, when you do this, people in Sri Lanka get annoyed. This is the same thing. I'm part of the Indo-Nepali relationship was ruined because of the media. Not because the Indian government. I mean, they had to pay the price of the way you all reported. So don't do this. I saw what happened in Nepal, and I'm very careful dealing with you.
How would you address the concerns over the Sinhalalization of the North and East?
There is no Sinhalalization of North and East. I go there regularly. There is no Sinhalalization of North and East. There is Sri Lankanization of the whole of Sri Lanka. Now you are bringing up an issue which is not in the election. This is the first election in which ethnicity and religion is not an issue. Everyone is looking at the economic issues, their stomach and their dining table. That is what it is. That I have achieved, and I am going to maintain that.
As we end this interview, Mr. President, what is your message to your Tamil voters in Sri Lanka and the viewers in India?
My voters, my message to the Sri Lankans in India, in Sri Lanka, the voters is we have a major economic issue. I took over the government when others were not willing to take over the government. We are going ahead. We've come to agreements with the IMF, with the OCC, and I must thank India for what help they gave us, with the China Development Bank and with the private creditors. Now we have to decide whether we are going ahead with it or whether we are in any way going to take it apart. But this affects every Sri Lankan in this country, and this is a major issue for Sinhalese, Tamils and Muslims. So I have one issue to give, because ethnicity and religion is not a part of this campaign.
What is your message to the Indians?
Sri Lanka and India are very good friends. Don't allow the media to spoil it.
You're shooting the messenger, Mr. President.
What does it matter? You're trying to shoot me, I shot you. So, okay.
It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Okay.
Thank you very much and all the very best, Your Excellency.
Yeah.
Thank you.